Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I got a funny text on the way down here from one of our personnel who couldn't make it, who said all of our detractors are telling you that I've called this press conference to resign. I will tell you, if that's the reason for your being here, you can leave now, and I'll cut your meeting short. How about that? Some of you from the media are probably wondering why we have an all-hands meeting today. I will readily admit that this is the military coming out in me. In the military, we held a monthly thing called a commander's call, and that was to handle and assess any information coming into your organization or from without that would hold down the amount of rumors and innuendo and propaganda. And so it's important today that we call the Escambia County Sheriff's Office personnel here to hear this story directly from me, the elected sheriff of Escambia County and the current sitting head of this organization. And why is that? There are things that are more important than titles and positions and lawsuits and money. And that's called integrity and the trust that our community places in us to do our jobs faithfully and truthfully. And so when things as malicious as this are placed before our community, it's incumbent upon me as the head of this organization to put these rumors and innuendo and propaganda to rest. And so today you will hear directly from me my involvement with and what I do know about the case involving the Manning family. This case was not led by the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. It was led by the State Attorney's Office, specifically Miss Ann Patterson. You may ask, well, why, Sheriff, are you bringing that up? Because assertions and allegations have been made that the sheriff ran and or manipulated the criminal case as well as the follow-on internal affairs investigation. That would be extremely difficult for me to do when I was not the head of this investigation. So I will state for everyone here today unequivocally, to the best of my recollection and knowledge, I have never met Leah Manning. To the best of my recollection and knowledge, I have never met Doug Manning, her husband. To the best of my recollection and knowledge, I have never met either of the Manning children. Unequivocally, I state that. To the best of my recollection, I have never met any of these individuals. Unlike many cases that are conducted at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, and again, we didn't run this case, the state attorney did, I will occasionally oversight a case, and by that I mean when interviews are being conducted, I will go across the building to where investigations are conducted and will oversee, if you will, or monitor the questioning. I did not do that in this case. Why? Because we were not the lead agency. Once the case began, and by the way, you may ask, how did this come to the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, or what was our involvement? The allegation came through the Department of Children and Family Services, where the allegations of child abuse had occurred. That went to Gulf Coast Kids House, which Ann Patterson has an office over there with the state attorney's office, and that was the beginning of the investigation. We had, I believe, 3 or 4 investigators that assisted Ms. Patterson in this investigation, along with investigators from the state attorney's office. Again, at no time was I involved with this investigation. I can only recall one time being asked a question about the conduct of the investigation, and that had to do with the execution of some warrants that were done by the U.S. Marshal Service when the Mannings fled the state of Florida. That was the only time I was asked a question about this case. When the case was in its infancy in the first couple of days, a telephone was produced that had a large number of telephone numbers from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office in them. And so immediately everyone suspects that, well, these may have been some officers that were involved with this family. We did not know at that point. A couple of more days transpired and someone came in and said, by the way, Sheriff, your phone number is in there too. It has been misreported that that was my personal cell number. That was my sheriff's cell number that I understand was in her phone. And again, I have no direct knowledge of that because I've never handled or nor seen any of the evidence involved in this case. Now, even if my personal cell number had been included in her phone, let me tell you what a matter of public record my personal cell number is. During the conduct of a couple of campaigns for Sheriff of Escambia County, I routinely put my personal cell number on business cards and flyers. So for anyone in this county to have my cell number would not be uncommon. When that was reported to me by, I believe at that time, I believe it was Commander Ricky Shelby, I said, well, let's put this rumor to bed very quickly. Go in and have our intel folks and investigations run my phone numbers, not just my sheriff's cell, but my personal cell. And at that time, we had a home phone number, which was a hard line. They ran all three of those phone numbers. And guess what came back? No contact with Leah Manning. Now, you would think that would put the issue to bed, wouldn't you? Unfortunately, it is not. And so we continue again with this case with the follow-ons. The internal affairs investigation. Those that are members of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office are aware that while an officer may be charged criminally, that does not mean that they are still not subject to discipline at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, up to and including termination. And so, yes, we had a follow-on investigation for Deputy Smith at the time. Once again, I will state unequivocally that I signed the letter starting an internal affairs investigation. I at no time oversight nor manage the conduct of an internal affairs investigation. Why? Because I'm the officer that sits in judgment of the final outcome of the case. It would be wholly inappropriate for me to manipulate and or direct an investigation. I did not do it in this case. I will share with you something very personal. In my almost 11 years as a sheriff of Escambia County, there has been one internal affairs case in which you will find a letter on the top of that case where I disagreed with the findings of the internal affairs and I negated the findings. But I did not change the investigator's report. The investigator's report remains as written, but the findings and outcome were negated by me as the sheriff upon advice of counsel, not only our internal legal counsel, but also the state attorney's office. I will tell you that I am somewhat baffled by this case ending up where it is. I will tell you that I'm making this statement today in meeting with the press and the members of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office to let you know that you have a right as employees of this agency to know that you have someone that is leading you that believes in character and integrity. I should be able to stand before you at any time on any question, straight-facedly, honestly, and with integrity, answer any questions that you might have. While some may find this publicly embarrassing, I do not. I will tell you that it's part of the job. It's something that I take very seriously. My big concern is this: posterity. Why do you answer publicly? Because I will tell you that 99.9% of you will never read a word about this case. You will never read the depositions. You will not take the time to read the hundreds and hundreds of pages that will result from these investigations. But you will remember this. And so in the future, for my family, my children and my grandchildren and generations to come, sadly, what will they read? Well, you know, Granddad was accused of sexual impropriety one time. And there it is. And there it is. That sadly is the society we live in, isn't it? So this whole case is fueled by rumors and innuendo and Facebook postings, where a lie repeated often enough becomes the truth. So as the head of this agency, and you as law enforcement officers and members of the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, I cannot overemphasize to you the trust our community has in you. Your ability to see and tell the truth is our only stock in trade. At a minimum, you have the right to take someone's freedom and in the extreme, their life. If our community cannot trust us to be the standard bearers for character and integrity, we have nothing. We have nothing. That's all that we have to offer. And so today I come before you as a sheriff of Escambia County to unequivocally deny all of these allegations. And now to the members of the press. I will answer the questions that I can with an understanding that we have litigation that is still pending. It is still going through the court system. And I've been cautioned by counsel to not make any statements or assertions that might in any way jeopardize that case. With that, I'll answer questions.
Sure, of course, Hollander from Channel 3 News. You've made it clear in this case so far you don't intend to give a deposition. Why not sit down and say what you just told us here today on the record?
That will be, again, something that I would have my counsel answer. They have some very specific legal reasons for doing that, and it's not uncommon.
And if I may, I know you said you've never met Leah Manning, but reading the deposition to the plaintiff's attorney, Joseph Zarzar, when asked if she's ever had sex with you, she said they asked her more than 2 times. She said yes. They asked her again more than 3 times. She said she would say somewhere around about 5 times.
I'd put that.
Is that true? Have you ever had sex with Leah Manning?
I would put that in the.
Why would you say it?
I would put that in the realm of impossible, wouldn't you? If I haven't met someone, how could I have sex with them?
Sheriff Morgan, Kevin Robinson from the Pensacola News Journal. One of the allegations in the plaintiff's documents was that there's been pressure from the administration affecting the, what aspects of internal investigations are pursued. I think there was things that this would be a public relations nightmare, and there was efforts to steer the direction of the investigation. So I think you spoke for yourself. Do you have knowledge of anyone in your administration ever affecting the direction of the investigation?
Not now, Kevin, and not ever. I will use a corollary, I think, to answer that question, Kevin. Years ago, in the HR realm, there used to be a joke that went around when you read a recommendation from someone for an employee that you were considering to hire, and this was a kind of a standard phrase or statement. You'd be lucky to get this guy to work for you. Now, that can be taken 2 ways, can't it? One, hey, you'd be really lucky to get this person to come to work for your organization. And the other one that you look at, it says, you'd be lucky to get any work out of this person. And so in this case, was there discussions about a particular case being a public relations nightmare? I wasn't involved in those, but I can tell you that I would think that would be a pretty common phrase to use. Who wants an organization smeared by allegations of that sexual misconduct? And the answer is no one would. So I would take that statement in its appropriate context.
I guess slightly different. You mentioned several times that this is a case that's been fueled by social media and rumors and innuendo. I mean, so do you think this is something that's been repeated enough that someone's just like, your filing last night said that this was basically a fishing expedition trying to get you to give a deposition so people could ask irrelevant questions. So I guess why do you think that this is fueled by Facebook? I guess could you talk about that?
Well, we have one individual who I won't give any television time to, put in the one of a blog post some time ago, my personal cell number. So that's the society that I deal with. So I mean, I can't speculate as to what people's motivations are. I can just tell you that what they're doing is a lie.
Sure. Rick Alton, Weekly.
Yes, sir.
When did you become first aware of the investigation into the Mannings and, the timeline? Because it was a call, according to the court documents, a call to dispatch, but it seemed fairly recent. I mean, when that was happening, it seemed that the arrest was not long after that. If I go back and look at my records, the arrest was made within less than 3 weeks. So I don't really see where there was any delay in acting on the investigation.
Well, and again, Rick, I can't answer that question directly because it wasn't my case. I didn't direct that case. That's a question I would refer to Ms. Patterson in her office. We had investigators that assisted. What normally occurs during an investigation that we are the lead agency for, I will get briefings and updates, as will my chief deputies, et cetera. In this case, that did not occur. I did not receive a briefing on the status of the Manning case because I wasn't running that investigation.
But there were the rest of the officers came out of a press release from the sheriff's office.
Yes, but again, Rick, that was coordinated and through Ann Patterson's office, not us.
Leah Manning further suggests that there's a video that exists of you half naked in a hotel bed. Are you aware of any existence of such video or why that may be?
I will state again, sir, I've never met Leah Manning. Now, does that not belie any credibility that you may have? Do you really believe, especially in today's environment, if someone had that sort of video, not only of me, but of any other elected official, that would be held in confidence? Did someone have an immediate attack of integrity and decide that, oh, I can't release that particular video, it might be embarrassing to someone? That belies credibility. I'm not even going to answer that question, please. Any other questions? Thank you all for your time.